I also want to comment very briefly on some of the comments on the budget, particularly Mr. Patterson, I believe it was, who talked about the fact that our spending is going down, but our taxes are still going up, and that's really, in his words, both are taxes. What he fails to recognize in stating that is, as Freeholder Hudak said, we have funding sources other than from tax dollars, thankfully. But unfortunately, many of them, including much of the money we get from the state of New Jersey, has been cut over the last couple of years. So in spite of the fact that we are able to reduce our spending, our income from other sources has been cut, which we have no control over. And in spite of that, I think the county manager has presented us with a very good and lean budget, but we are certainly looking to make sure that it's as lean as it can be and keep the tax increase to our residents as low as possible. It's already lower than it's been in many, many years, and we're looking to keep it even lower. I also want to indicate to Mr. Patterson that I think he's going to be disappointed once again because he fails to realize that Mr. Barry is the counsel to the county and to this freeholder board, and his opinions, if he's given one, is protected by attorney-client privilege. So Mr. Patterson can ask Mr. Barry any legal opinion he wants, but it's not something that he can give to you. His services, his legal advice comes to this board. So I fear you'll be disappointed once again. I want to also address a couple of comments by Mr. Burry. I'm not going to deal with his comments concerning Runnels Hospital because I think there was so much misinformation, innuendo, and rumor in there that there's just nothing of substance to deal with. And I want to again agree with my freeholder colleagues that to compare the sale of Runnels with the settlement of the Exxon case is not a comparison of two likes. My concerns to some degree with the Exxon settlement go even beyond just the dollar figures for two reasons. First, presuming that many of the reports in the newspapers are correct, this lawsuit, which has been handled for more than 10 years by the Attorney General's office and the professionals who work for the state, they were pushed aside, I'm led to believe, and the governor's personal counsel came in and oversaw the settlement of this case, which is inappropriate, I believe. Further, the question of the money going directly into the state budget to cover debts and so on. The reason I surmise that the governor rushed this settlement is because that law runs out at the end of the current budget year. So if the settlement, even if it were to be higher, were to come after the current budget year, unless the legislature were to give him that authority again, that money would not be there to balance the budget, but rather would have to be used for the purpose of the lawsuit. So I find some question about the governor's motives in promptly settling this case for what appears to be a solely irresponsible amount of money.